see it.
Pretty impressive.
It's gorgeous.
Makes you think you're a kid again.
I had a Sportster 883, so I want to see how it compares.
There's no comparison at all.
I bet.
I'm a 35-year Harley rider, and the day we got one here, the first week of December, I took it out for about an hour, and it's amazing what they did with. This is basically a 1200cc bike, and it's amazing.
The bike starts itself, so you don't have to hold the starter.
Oh, okay. Nice. All right, so he was giving me the rundown on the procedures for starting this Scout. Now this particular one has their Stage 1 kit, although I'm told by the owner of the dealership here it's purely for aesthetics and the exhaust sound, so still a fair comparison to any Scout as far as power and performance. He was showing me the little button behind here that cycles through the information display. We've got the odometer, trip odometer, tachometer. I'm going to leave that on. Outside, that's a coolant temp. That's rising up. No, that's got to be ambient temp because this is air-cooled, I believe. Is it? No, nope, it's liquid. It looks like an E, 107 degrees. It can't be ambient because it's only upper 70s or so. I'm waiting for my lead guy to go out before I do anything. That's got to be a C. So that's coolant temp. I'm going to leave it on tachometer. He was giving me a warning there, I don't know if the camera picked it up, about how 4 people have dumped this bike because they were surprised by the power. They expected Harley 883 performance, and this apparently, he said, has a lot of higher end RPM performance. So watch it. Good to know. All right. Waiting for one more rider, he said. Mirrors look pretty good. Can't see completely behind me, but... And we're off. Nice smooth transmission. Good clutch feel. Very nice turn in. Feels tiny. Now I had a Sportster 883 for years, so I'm very familiar with the way this type of frame is going to want to ride and what its competition obviously is. Does not feel like a Harley 883, I'll tell you that right now. Very smooth. Still has a thump, you can tell it's a V-twin, but it's not shaking the handlebars. Just a little bit of feel through the foot pegs, nothing through the butt. Seat's very comfortable. It's obviously a nice big wide saddle. Got a little bit of a pressure point in my tailbone. I feel like I'm sitting a little far forward, but you know what? I got that out of the 883 also, because I am a big guy with longer legs, longer arms. The reach is actually very nice. The Harley, with at least their stock bars, I'm reached way far back. So much so that a lock-to-lock turn, my knees are hitting my wrists. This is great. I mean, it still has the vibration to let you know it's a V-twin. It's definitely not 4-cylinder smooth. And I'm at 1900 RPM in, let's see, is it 5 or a 6-speed? I didn't look. This is top gear. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm in first gear. Second. Might be a 5-speed. I'll run it through here and count. Doesn't have a gear display. I'm betting it's a 5. Not much point in having a 6-speed on a little V-twin. Very easy to take off. I'm going to wind out first here, see what it's got. It's got some nuts, that's for sure. That wasn't wide open. Didn't want to run into the guy here. Now it's a 12-mile course. This is another reason I wanted to do this Orlando ride. When you're doing demo rides, it is very important to pick a dealer in an area that has interesting roads. For example, I would never want to do a demo ride in St. Petersburg at the new dealer. Why? Because they have no interesting roads. They are in the middle, smack dab in the middle of nothing but city blocks. There's lights everywhere. They have no curves, no winding 2-lane roads. They're in urban environments. Same with most dealers around us. The one I did for Can-Am over in Tampa, I did that because they're right on the edge of North Tampa. They went through some residential neighborhoods. I didn't do the Can-Am ride in South Tampa because there is nowhere to do an interesting demo ride. So we've got a 12-mile course to ride today. And I'll of course be doing other bikes. You'll see videos on all that other stuff. And this will give a real nice feel. I did have one more top gear there. I want to say this might be a 6-speed. Yep, it is. Cool. It's got a nice little sound to it. I don't know how that compares to the non-stage 1, but it's got a little bit of a growl. It's not a thump. There's no concussion. It's just like a growling tiger sound. It's not especially loud. If you're looking for anything obnoxious, you are going to need aftermarket pipes for sure. It's about on equal par with the Victories or the stock Stars. Now the Raider 113 I did have more of the concussive thump, but then again that was a much bigger engine. So when I do the 111 bikes, we'll see how that compares. But it's got a nice sound to it. Feels like I'm sitting right on top of the front wheel. It does have very nice handling, extremely smooth suspension. I'm not bouncing up and down. I'm not feeling these bumps. I'm not going to say it rides like a Cadillac because it does have the V-twin vibration, but it's very slight. The actual suspension is fantastic. I do wish the seat had a little bit more padding right in the tailbone or had a different angle to the bucket, the scoop. It may be an issue on longer rides. Well, it would definitely be an issue on longer rides for me at least. It may not be for everybody, but it is quite firm right in my tailbone. That's kind of what I'm concentrating on right now, and that's why I know it would be an issue. You don't want to have to think about the seat at all. I've definitely felt more comfortable seats. The width is excellent, like any cruiser I've been on. Very skinny. It's comfortable to put my legs down on the tank. They're nice and smooth. I have good contact all the way from my knees, all the way down my upper thighs. There's no hard pressure point like some other bikes I've done tests on. I have to say the mirrors, they're on par. They are on par with just about every other bike out there. Fully half the mirror is taken up by my elbows, and then I can see the rest behind me. Definitely seen better mirrors, but I've seen worse too. They are very clear though. There's no vibration in them. Absolutely rock solid image. Grip is very good. The width of them is good as far as the girth. Idle's pretty smooth, 1050 idle. Just a little bit of engine vibration and ticking. It's not shaking anything apart. I can just hear, you know, thunk, 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 that kind of thing. I can feel it in the seat. There's actually more vibration at idle than even just off idle. Rev it up here to 1500 and it smooths out. Great low end torque. I'm just barely touching the throttle and it's not winding out of power as I rev up. It's just continuing to smoothly accelerate. Can't really get up much speed here, but there in second gear I was maybe a quarter throttle. The more I opened it, it just wanted to go. Just like a nice little smooth electric motor. up into top 6 gear here. 3,000 RPM at 55. It's wide open. Very smooth. It does have that little deeper growl to it under torque. A little bit of handlebar vibration and it just goes. It's not ripping your arms off. But I would never expect that out of a small motor to do. But I am very impressed in the response. That's what's important. When you're buying these smaller engines and these smaller frame bikes, besides it being comfortable, you want the engine to perform to the best of its ability. And I'll tell you what, if you're looking at a Harley 883, it doesn't do this. If you try to lug a Harley 883 and it only has a 5-speed, it doesn't go anywhere. It just starts shaking. You have to downshift, and then you have to keep upshifting because the darn thing runs out of steam at 4,000 RPM. So you have to short shift the 883s to get them to move anywhere. You have a very small bandwidth, very small area of RPM where you can really get an 883 moving. This feels like it has a nice flat torque curve. Now I haven't seen any dyno sheets on it, but from the way it rides, I can tell it's very flat. It starts out very low. I'm going to wind out first here. It's third, second, first. Scrape the peg so it does not have much turning prowess as far as lean angle. That was a pretty good scrape too. That was not much of a turn, as you saw. I lifted my right foot right up, so it started to bend the pedal. Sorry, I wanted to wind out first. Well, maybe I can still... No, it's too fast already. It actually feels like it's gaining torque the higher it goes, so that's nice. I mean, that's like a nice overhead cam engine. I don't know if this is an overhead cam or overhead valve, but it does not act like a Harley 883. And the only reason I'm mentioning that is because that is the direct competition for this bike. Not only in the style, but the price point. These are about 10 grand. Size of the motor, size of the frame, everything is going after the riders of that bike. And like I said, I had one for years, so I'm very, very familiar with everything that those bikes do. Let's go down into third. Second. Now at the higher RPMs, I'm at 5,000 RPM. I do have a lot of vibration in the saddle, but it's not like you'd be cruising at these RPMs. It's shaking pretty good up here. 47, 5,000. But it's not a sport bike. It's not like you're going to be holding this thing in the upper RPM bands anyway. It has a more than enough torque here at 6 gear. 50 miles an hour, 2650 RPM, wide open, 50 to 55 in just a couple seconds. There's no problem there whatsoever. Now they did say that there's going to be a stretch on this ride somewhere where we can get up to about 65. I don't think this is it right here, but that I will drop it down into second, and I want to see what the upper RPM does. I still want to wind it out in first just to see how it goes. It's kind of why I like being last in a line, because I can kind of slingshot a little bit. It's tough being first because I can't go any faster than the guy in front of me, and he's always going controlled, let's say. Not slow. They're doing a great job so far. I've been on some rides where, oh my gosh, they just putt. You can't get a feel for the bike. It's almost like they don't want you to figure out that it doesn't have any guts. But this is just fine. I think he's... What are you doing, dude? There's only 3 of us here. And one of them is another employee. Nice looking gauges. Everything is laid out great. I've got a very nice comfortable riding position. Arms aren't too high. Very good spread. My elbows are nice and relaxed. Aside from the seat, it's extremely comfortable. The pegs are actually really nice. Shifter's in a great position. It's sticking out far enough where it naturally hits my foot. Brake is very responsive. Does have a little bit of engine braking, Nothing real dramatic. Another reason I think it's probably an overhead cam engine. It's just nice to take a cruise on. Now, I don't know about two people. I would assume they have a pillion seat for it. It has a, looks like a mount for probably a dual seat, maybe a rack. I'm not sure. The owner, when I was talking with him, was showing me how easy it is to put other seats on it, and it literally just lifts and clips off. You don't even need any tools. It was very nice. Now, he did say that there are different size stock seats to put on this, where you can move it forward and back, and I would definitely, I'm assuming this is probably a neutral one. And if they have one, I would definitely want the further back one. That would probably alleviate the tailbone problem I'm having right now. I'm kind of like sitting up a little bit to take some pressure off of it. It's a little firm. I don't feel too far forward. You know, there's really nothing on the tank to hit, so there's nothing uncomfortable. I'm not sliding. The angle's great. When you come to a stop, you stay put. It's a nice width. Controls are okay. Switches look not exactly high quality. Plastic looks, I don't know, a little toyish, for lack of a better term. I'd say not on par with the best of the Japanese. Better than the Victory, let's put it that way. I'd say not quite as good as Harley Davidson as far as the looks and the feel of the switchgear itself. Very easy to read gauge. It is just a regular LCD, so it's perfectly legible in direct sunlight. There's no glare problem. The backlighting does get washed out in the sun, though. I can't see the neutral or the turn indicators in direct sun, but with my head in the way, no problem there. As I said before, that was the end of the turn lean angle there. Let's go up into first and see what it's got. 5,700. It's like a red line about 73. It's kind of, it might be on a little bit of a delay there. I thought he said 8,500. Did peter out right at the end, but that's probably just the rev limiter. I'll tell you, up to at least 7, it just keeps pulling. Nice and smooth, and actually pulls a little bit more the higher it revs. It definitely does not run out of power at all in the top RPMs. So, complete opposite of Harley's. It still has plenty of low-end torque. I have no complaints of off the line. I'm not sure if it's just got a big flywheel or if it really does have a whole bunch of torque. No matter what, it's definitely performing very well. Now I've got a full face helmet on. Couldn't tell you how much wind noise or anything it's going to give you without a windshield, but I have a nice solid breeze hitting me in the chest. I can feel it on my arms. I don't feel like it's pushing me around at all. I don't feel any gusting. It's just a nice solid wall of air, as to be expected with a naked bike, of course. The exhaust is loud enough where you can hear it. Now, I don't have my earplugs in because we weren't going on the freeway. So I wanted to just give a straight review without any bias as far as the noise like that. I can hear the exhaust here going down the road. We're at 2,800 RPMs and it's just a light growl. It really doesn't get a whole lot louder when you crank on it. It just changes tone and kind of goes from a purr to a rrrr. It's not too aggressive, but you definitely hear it. It's not loud enough where it would bother you. Let me put it that way. The wind noise is still louder than the exhaust. Love the suspension. Going over those tracks, I literally could not feel them. I just floated right over them. There's not much else you can say about that. Great suspension. Even going around corners, even though it doesn't have that great of a lean angle. Very controlled. Great low speed handling. Very light front end. Even standing still, super easy to turn. I literally feel like I'm on top of the wheel and can just flick it around. I don't feel like there's anything hanging off the front. Great geometry. Zero complaints there. Really, the biggest complaint is the mirrors. They just simply need to be a good 6 inches out further. They're almost useless. But like I said, that is typical. You know, that is most motorcycles on the market. The stock mirrors just plain suck. So, room for improvement there, but that goes across the board. I'm just not seeing anything that's sticking out as bad on the bike. It's really impressing me for what it is. Now 10 grand, that's going to be up to you whether or not that's a bit much for your taste for a small V-twin, really a single rider bike. But I'll tell you what, when you're in the market for a cruiser, even the smaller entry-level ones, there aren't that many choices in this category, especially the more traditional look, the vintage look, with this kind of American type build. You have to go into the entry-level stars to get into this price point other than Harley. And that's a completely different bike. That is just day and night from the American V-twin. Yamaha still makes excellent V-twins, but they don't deliver what this kind of customer is looking for. So really, you only have the two choices. I don't consider Victory in the same league, and they really don't have anything to compete with this specific model anyway. And I did bounce a little bit over those tracks. There were some waves, and the tracks were protruding a little bit, but it wasn't anything unusual. Just one little bounce and a little hit. No big deal at all. Totally vibration free in the bars. You wouldn't need to put any grip puppies on or anything like that. They are the typical girth. They're not as large as a lot of the Harleys or the Victories. Wow, that was 12 miles? That went really quickly. Well, that was a nice ride anyway. Let's try these tracks. Ow. Okay, that bump hurt. Woo-wee! Now, it's probably a combination of my weight on the bike and the preload not set for it, but that was definitely the limit of the suspension. So, again, not unexpected. It is a short suspension bike. It's not going to be a sport bike or a touring bike. It's going to be a nice, fun, small V-twin American cruiser, and I have to say, it delivers. Alright guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the site TwoWheelObsession.com, and we'll see you next time.